Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Renew. I am your host, Kristen Andre, and we have with us again my co-host, the marvelous Miss Mendoza.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
So we are live on the Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn. We're just live all over the place
Everywhere.
here, which is good. So I want to hear some people. I would like to hear some comments this morning because here's what we're talking about today.
Let me pull this up.
Because I've been a little bit, I get a little aggravated with folks from time to time. And I'm a pretty happy person, I think. And I do feel like we need a little bit more positivity in the world, and we need to focus on some good stuff. So today, I'm calling it, if you can't help them, don't hurt them.
Ooh, it's kind of like if you can't say anything nice.
Don't say anything at all, right? Or what's the phrase? You can't say anything nice, come sit next to me. No, it's because here's what I'm seeing a lot of. And I don't know if this is because we've been locked in our houses for a year. I don't know if this is because we have such a divide with everything that's been going on from a racism standpoint and a political standpoint and the vaccination, is people are just getting mad and they're just not being nice. And I feel like instead of ignoring things or letting people have their own opinions, they're getting ticked off and just being mean. And I'm just tired of the meanness. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm aggravated with some of you fools out there right now, which is probably being mean calling them fools, but I'm going to call them fools.
Yeah. Well, and some of it's just unsolicited opinion.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, because in my past life, past life, but in my younger days.
Yes.
I for sure would be, and I'm very opinionated, and my kids will be like, if my kids start commenting, y'all should be in school. But I'm definitely opinionated, and I'm a strong personality. But I do feel like the older I've gotten, I've started trying to see things from others' vantage points. And that's where I think a lot of people are losing themselves right now, is they're not looking at things and thinking somebody else could have different life experiences that led them to believe what they believe.
Yeah.
Or they could have had a different upbringing that maybe they don't know some things, so that causes them to react a certain way.
Yeah.
But the kindness has gone out the window for the most part. Not in my particular friend group, because we've talked about this a lot on the show. For those of you guys that listen, I'm really intentional about who I let in my little bubble. It's very, very insulated. And even on Facebook and online, is I try to stay positive. And I actually got a direct message this morning. I won't say the person's name because she direct messaged me instead of posting. Just like, hey, you've been so inspirational, because I'm doing that 75 hard challenge, Andy Frisella's challenge. And it's been some work. But, I've had several people reach out to me going, this is really good. It's caused me to get in shape. You're being very inspirational. But that's my goal, is to be positive.
Yeah.
So my question is, why are we breaking others down? Why can't we just all freaking be nice and play nice in the sandbox? Solve the world for me, Miss Millennial.
I know. I'm like, I wish I had some answers. I do think that there is a lot adding to this factor. Some of those that you've already mentioned, of like what we had gone through in the pandemic. And I know we had mentioned on previous shows that just like similar to social media, the pandemic tended to exacerbate one side or the other. So if you were already typically a negative person, it's like you became more negative. If you are naturally, and I say that naturally because it does take work to be a positive person, but if that is where you like to shift your mindset and you like to be positive, then it's easier for you to be positive and view everything that we just went through in a different light.
Right. And I think you're right, because you can find your narrative anywhere you want to find it. I don't care if you think, that the sky is purple. You could probably find an article or a research study to say the sky is purple.
Yeah. Some of it too is, I wonder where our values have gone.
Okay, let's go there for a minute. I think they've gone straight to hell in a handbasket for a lot of people. Well, that's the thing, is yes, we don't, because values, people have their own set of values. But let me just call a few people out. I won't call you by name. If your value is not to treat other people with kindness, you might need to recheck your values. And that's where I'm like, when the heck did we start just feeling like it was okay to just be mean to people and to just, not allow them to have their own opinions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with my kids on half the stuff, but I do want to be respectful of their viewpoints.
Right. And that's where a lot of it gets into that you can't, online, you really can't control the narrative. Now, I full on accept if I post anything on social media, opinion or a picture, maybe it's not an opinion, it could be a fact. I stood outside today in the sun.
Yep.
And someone could come on there and be like, well, you're ugly. And that's their prerogative. They can 100% tell me that I'm ugly. But you don't have to, like, don't say anything to me.
So that's a good point, because I feel like in social, we've talked about this a little bit before. Social has kind of opened this up, right? Because you're hiding behind a screen, you can say whatever you want to people. But that's what I mean by, if you can't help them, don't hurt them.
Yeah, just don't say anything.
What good does it do to tear other people down?
Yes.
If they're not hurting you. If they're hurting you, for sure, stand up for yourself all day long. And that's where I tend to get really opinionated. Like, my kids are like, I'm like, I don't judge people, I'm not mean. They're like, oh, yes, you are. But I'm really only mean if you mess with me directly or my children. You mess with my children, I'm like Mama Bear all day long. But that's because you're messing with my children.
Yeah.
So, and it's a direct response. But for most people, it's like, why do you have to put negative comments?
Right.
Or why do you have to do anything? And it's just like, people want to say, I follow this girl online. You guys may have seen her. Name's Lizzie. And I so apologize, I can't remember her last name. Lizzie has a genetic condition that she was born, I think it's with the cartilage or whatever. So she's extremely, extremely thin. She's blind in some eyes. She's a motivational speaker. She's phenomenal. Like, she's so inspirational. And on her social media the other day, she was talking about somebody. There was a girl at a beach somewhere that people started filming because she was extremely, like, emaciated, and for health reasons. You could tell looking at her that there was, some kind of medical condition going on with her. And that's what Lizzie was saying. She's like, if you see somebody different, why is it okay to just pull out your camera and go, oh my gosh, look at this person? You don't know that person's history. You don't know what her medical status is. Right. And that's what I appreciate Lizzie I'll look her up, but as a motivational speaker, is she's had that her whole life. She's an adult. She's had this her whole life, and now she's doing all this speaking and saying, just be kind to people. Like, you don't know what they've been through, but why would somebody just comment, this looks ugly or that looks, because I've had those comments before. I tend to ignore them, and what's kind of cool is your friends and fans will jump in and defend you a little bit, which is fun to watch other people defend you.
Yeah.
But why do people do that? Is they just having a bad day, or what?
I mean,
or are they just bad people?
That, I feel like it speaks to how they feel about themselves. It's like, again, we've been dealing with this forever. Like, think about when you went to school and someone called you ugly. Well, that's because they were trying to deflect off of themselves.
Yep.
It's the same exact situation, except now it's just more people can comment all of the time because it's online.
Yep.
So it's really it's that, I think, that they're trying to deflect from themselves. And again, no values of respecting your fellow human.
Yeah.
You don't have to say I'm pretty. You don't have to say I'm ugly. Don't say anything at all. It's the same thing with offering an opinion, right. I think.
Right.
Just because I tell you something doesn't necessarily mean I'm asking for your opinion or what you think about it. Now, again, if I post something on social media that is kind of an open call that others could go in and, comment, that's what it's there for. But
well, and that's if you're asking for, and so that's another thing. If you're asking for an opinion, like if I want to say, hey, how does this, I got a new dress, how does it look? And that's your asking for opinion.
Yes.
Now, and I think you throw compliments at people all day long, because I don't think we compliment people enough.
Agreed.
My friend group does. We're all kind of we could post a picture and you'll have 50,000. Oh, you look beautiful, because that's just what we do.
Yes.
Because that's the kind of people I surround myself with. So if you're asking for feedback, give it. But that doesn't mean that people want feedback. They may just want to post a picture, or they may just want to show up and say something or do something.
Yeah. There's a, I forget the name of it now, but there's a John Mayer song that is essentially in there. He has this line, I'll butcher it, John, sorry, but
sorry, John.
Sorry, John Mayer. he essentially says no one ever saved the world from a post. That's something else that I think we all need to keep in mind. And so let's take the vaccine, because
ooh, yes, let's take that.
that's a very controversial topic.
It is a controversial topic in my house right now.
It's should you get it, should you not? And both sides have very strong opinions.
Yes.
Now, Facebook, for example, has that little, kind of detail.
The thing. Yes.
That's saying that, if you go and comment on someone's picture about how they're going to turn into a zombie because they went and got that vaccine, well, too late. Like, you're not going to change anyone's opinion. They already went and got the vaccine.
Right.
So, wasted comment.
Yes.
Wasted.
I agree. So, and I agree with that. And so we won't we can get into the vaccine. Y'all can comment all you want to. I don't care. Because I have my opinion, but I have done and I tried to explain this to my middle schooler yesterday, because she was asking questions and she only hears what she hears. She's not out. She's like, I did my
100%.
research. I'm like, you're 12 and I'm pretty sure your makeup tutorials on YouTube did not talk about the vaccine. But she's only heard what she's heard. And and from what she's heard, it is very, I know what she's heard and who she's hearing it from. It's very insulated. It's very one-sided. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, we just need to make your own decisions. And she's like, well, I get to decide for myself. I'm like, well, no, you don't actually, because
not right now.
You're a minor.
Got a couple of years.
But with that, my older kids, my older children are old enough to make they're old enough to do their research. They are old enough to make their own judgments and opinions and decide whether or not the vaccine was right for them. I don't personally agree with what their decisions were, but it's not my decision to make. And that's even as a parent. That's me saying this as a parent. So, I think you've got to understand that people are coming at things from a different place and be respectful of that. But to his point, I've not heard that song. So it's like,
I'll have to find it.
I know, but it is true. It's like, when in the world did we think that we're going to change somebody's opinion from a Facebook post?
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point of the difference in who has, shall we call it, the right to give an opinion.
Yep.
I think as a mother that birthed children,
yes,
you have the right to offer your children your opinion.
I offer my children my opinions frequently. They don't always listen to them. Right. But my rule is like, I need you to be respectful in hearing what I'm having to say. But these are my children. I birthed them, as I put it with them. They lived rent-free in my tummy apartment for a while.
Right.
So I have earned the right to give my opinion. Do they, especially the ones who are older, and adults, do they have to listen to my opinion? No, they don't.
Right.
But that's the thing. That's what an opinion, it's an opinion. And I'm cool with giving opinions, but you guys stop just getting angry about your opinion. Your opinion may or may not be right.
Yeah.
I remember when we were going through therapy, for my divorce and everything, and the therapist told me when we first started, said, here's your side, here's his side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. And we all like to think that our side is 100% the truth.
Yeah.
But it's not. No, with anybody, like myself, everyone out there, any of you guys listening, if you are sitting here thinking, but I am 1,000,000% right, I will assure you, you are not. Yep. Because none of us are. We all have our own lens of how we were raised, how we were treated, any major or micro traumas we've had from our past. We have our attitude, our outlook, all that crap comes in to make up how we see the world.
Yeah.
And y'all just got to just chill for a minute.
Yeah.
Because you're stressing me out.
Yeah.
Not you. You're not stressing me out.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm a calming factor.
You are a calming factor. And what's funny is I do have a few of those that are calming factors in my life. Friends that it's just, I feel like my friends that, all my closest ones aren't like that. They're all calm. We have opinions, but we will have healthy debates and respect. We don't all agree with everything, but we have healthy debates and respect each other's opinion. The people that I see stressing out over things they stress out over things that they have zero control over. And you know how I am with controlling the controllables.
Yep.
We were out to eat the other day. My brother was getting aggravated because there's this lady just smacking, like,
oh no.
In Georgia, no home training is really what it, just mouth open, all agape. And he's like, oh my gosh, she's driving me nuts. I'm like, well, friggin' look away. Quit looking at her. Like, I mean, he was really like visibly stressing out at the table. I'm like, you can like pivot your chair or something and not stare at the lady's food down her uvula. But it's, I feel like some people are there's a benefit to them. I don't think there's a real benefit, but they got to be thinking they're getting something out of being all negative.
Yeah.
They have to be.
I think it speaks so much to what's going on in their own lives. Yeah. That if you are looking at everything else around you, then you don't have to look inside at your own problems.
Oh, ding, 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 Miss Mendoza. Okay. Let's go there.
So, I mean,
because they're pointing the finger at other people. Well, they're pointing the finger at other people.
Yes. And again, looking at back to your tribe and the importance of building that tribe. Again, for your friends who are in your tribe, they have earned the right to try to save you if they think you're about to drive off a cliff.
Correct.
Whatever.
Yes, that's a great point. They have earned the right to give you the feedback, to do all that. Yes.
Everyone else hasn't. If I'm sitting beside you at a table and you don't know me, then leave me alone. But it is. It's easier to not focus on our own problems when we're looking at everything else. And I think that's what people do. They deflect onto others. But again, that's more speaking into what they're facing and really has nothing to do with you.
I agree with that. I do. But then, people do need to address their problems, but that's what your friend group's for. That's why you have all these people you can go to. But
maybe they don't have friends because they're always judging them.
That could be it. It could be. I mean, I don't know. I think everybody has friends. They may not be good friends, but here's the thing. Like, the way I start out with this is like, if you can't help them, don't hurt them. Now, first and foremost, I do feel like we need to be more helpers. We talk about this a lot, is how can you help other people? How can you lend a hand? How can you, be good stewards of the gifts that you've been given and just show up and help people? I don't think we do enough of that. I think we immediately skip over that and go right to what can I do to just poke holes or hurt them or just say something so I feel better about myself. And I don't know about you, but when you start tearing people down, if that makes you feel better, let's call it out. You're a crappy person.
It is.
I mean, if tearing others
that's something internally, like, again, back to
you need Jesus, right? I'm serious. Like, you don't need to tear other people down.
That is really the other core. I don't want to call it value because it's more than that, but it is. It's a core fundamental, I guess, would be a good way to say that. Not to get all religious,
you gonna get all churchy on me?
We've lost that 100%.
Well, and even if you're not a spiritual or religious person, because I do have some friends that, my closest group of friends are very, very, very spiritual, very religious, but I do have some friends that are either atheists or agnostic, and they're still kind people. Like, so it's not like the end all be all. However, it's the kindness thing that it is. Like, so there's two components. Help them first. You first need to help people. We need to get back to helping people. And but to do that, we have to take ownership for how, what our gifts are, how we can help people. And we need to be willing to ask for help when we need it ourselves. And I think that's hard for a lot of people. Yeah. But then if we can't help them, to our point earlier, don't hurt them. Get where you're just being a kind human. Yeah. And we lost that. I blame politics. I really do.
100%.
I really, really do. I think the things that I fight about most with, my children, and I won't say fight, but it's because we're so polarized in this country. And, let me get political for a minute, because you guys know, for those of you guys that listen to the show a lot, I don't comment on politics very often. I don't really give my opinion as far as candidates or anything like that, except for to my little core group, because it's nobody's business. But here's what I'll say about politics. I feel like we have got to quit lumping everyone into a bucket or two buckets. Yep. Because I have some friends on both sides of the aisle, if you will, that their post or their comments will be like the liberals or the conservatives or, you know, the Trump trained people or the Biden support, whatever they are, there is no middle ground. It is either you are this crazy fool or you're this crazy fool. There's, you know, they lump everybody in there. Okay. Well, I know very conservative Republicans who have a lot of gay and lesbian friends. I know very, very liberal people who, you know, carry guns. It's, you know, there's never a definitive line in the sand, but I feel like so many people are playing in the end zones where I'm either way over here or way over there, and they're forgetting that the bulk of us are in the middle. But we're allowing who we follow online, we're allowing our celebrity influences, we're allowing the people that comment on Facebook to get us all in our feels and to say, oh yeah, and they just make us mad.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on here. If somebody's ticking you off online and you don't like their post and they're draining your energy, friggin' hide them.
Yep.
Push the button where you hide their updates or unfriend them. You don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what's starting the spiral. It's, you know, like if you've ever seen somebody who can go negative really quick, it's like a tornado or a drain that just goes down quick. If they start going down that spiral, or if you start going it, cut off the spiral, cut off the things that are making you go down.
Well, and then, you know, you can put it in buckets with politics, religion, sexuality. I mean, I think we do that. I think we put everyone somewhere. Mm-hmm.
And we all do that. That's our unconscious bias.
No, yeah.
And we say 100%. Call it unconscious bias. It's conscious for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think it looks though like we're trying to fix everyone else.
What do you mean by that?
In the sense of going back to, let me share my opinion or let me comment. Now, you could sit me down and I'd tell you anything of my belief on anything that you wanted to know, and that would be my opinion if you were to ask it.
Yes.
But I don't see if someone's doing different from me or believes different. Again, I'm not going to go in and comment on their page to try to fix them or tell them how they're right or wrong.
Right.
And that's where I see, because even the side comments of, you're ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. You're trying to make me your standard of beautiful.
Yeah. Which is everybody's standard of beauty is different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's like we put them in a bucket.
Yeah.
And then we want to try to take them out of that bucket and fit them into ours.
Correct. And so that's what we need to understand is there are multiple buckets for anything, and there's no right or wrong bucket. Mm-hmm. And you can change buckets if you want to. If you want to hang out of this little bucket for a little while and then go to the other bucket, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But quit trying to like categorize people. People are people. All of us have a bunch of little buckets, right? So we're trying to label it's the label thing. Why do we all need labels? Mm-hmm. I just want you guys to label me as like, you know what? She's nice. She's inspirational, you know, but that's cool. Label me that. Label good stuff. But let's quit trying to label people with the negatives.
Maybe that's what saves the world.
What, the labels?
No, the
niceness?
Yeah, go sit at the table nobody else wants to go sit at.
Yep.
And be friends with the people nobody else wants to be friends with.
Because, you know, sometimes you do that, I don't know, sometimes reaching out and understanding people. I have a ridiculously diverse friend group. And I don't know that was intentional. It's just the people I like hanging out with. They just happen to be pretty diverse. But what's interesting is we get to know each other and we ask questions. And if there's something we don't all agree, we're pretty split. My closest girlfriends, we're very split politically. We're very split, where we grew up and, some from this country, some from not. It didn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It comes down to the values, and all of our values are helping, kindness, things like that.
Yeah.
But that's where, that's what it used to be. If you think back let's go back to Little House on the Prairie days. They're helping people. They're borrowing, bringing food and borrowing. And there's a Hallmark show when something calls the home.
When calls
the heart.
Get
That's
it
right. I'm like, it's on Sunday evenings.
I love that show.
It is a good show, and I don't even know when it's set because it's got to be like the 20s because there's horses, but there are cars. So,
yeah.
But anyway, the reason I bring one because it's Hallmark. Why would I not bring it up? But two, everybody's just helpful. I mean, there's still little pettiness and rumor mills and stuff like that, but people just help.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like we need. I need some people to jump on our helping bandwagon, and let's just commit to, if you can't help them, don't hurt them. Let's first and foremost try to help people.
Yeah.
Like if you can, because all of us can help somebody, even if it's just, you guys, like with my clients, I do from a business strategy standpoint, I always have them do, I call them reach outs. Most of my clients have to do a minimum of 5 reach outs a day. That's what I do. A reach out is just touching base with somebody. It could be a client, a prospect, a friend, family member, high school classmate, whatever it is. I want them to do 5 proactive reach outs a day. Not asking for business. Now, this is a business strategy, but it's not asking for business. You know, hey, Whitney, saw your podcast. Awesome job. Hope you're doing well. Something like that. Or, hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Just thinking about you. Hope things are good.
Yeah.
That's all positivity. The clients, my private coaching clients that I've had do this are seeing crazy results. I do it as a business strategy, but it's just putting the good juju out there. And all of them to a person come back and are like, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting business. People are reaching out. I've got this person to call me back that I've been chasing for 5 years. I'm like, because you put the human element back into it. People want to
100%.
feel connected with, and they want to feel appreciated. Like all of us like feeling that. Even if you're out there saying, oh, I don't like it when people compliments me. Okay, boo, that's fine. You can say that all you want. But I know deep down in your feels, you're like, oh, that was sweet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's do that more.
Yeah. Niceness is a rarity.
And I mean niceness. I'm not saying the DMs you're getting like, hey, looking hot in that picture. That's not what I'm talking about. No. That's not at least for me. Maybe it works for some. For me, it's not getting you anywhere. You know, unless I know you, then okay. Well, actually, not even if I know you. So there's like 2 people that can say that to me. Yeah, Whitney's got to delete her. No, girls are different. But, you know, like I'm talking about genuine reaching out to people with no agenda.
Yeah. So
that's the thing about being nice. And this is a big differentiator, at least for me. When I talk about being nice and being kind, it is zero agenda, and it is letting go of the outcome. There's no outcome. You're not expecting something. I'm not helping you or complimenting you because I want you to compliment me back. I'm complimenting you because I think, oh man, that was cool. I like that shirt. Let's do that. Whatever it is. It could be about appearance. It doesn't even have to be. It's even better if it's not about appearance, right? Because then you're getting to the core of who somebody is. Yeah. I love that. I think it's fun. I mean, I think we just got to be nice. I think we've got to kind of stop with the craziness, stop with the negativity. It's funny. I was thinking when you were talking about Little House on the Prairie, I'm like, man, we used to not have to lock our doors. I wasn't alive then. I've always locked my door, but they didn't. They didn't, and we don't, it's in my neighborhood. I probably shouldn't say that. People are going to be looking up where I live. Oh, Kristen's door's not locked. Yeah, no, lock your door. Well, we all have Ring doorbells now. We can see who's breaking into our house if we do that. But, but see the sheer fact that you have to have that, because I just don't think that was that big of a deal back in the day. I mean, I know you had bandits that were, breaking bandits. The gypsies and the bandits. I will say gypsies, bandits, and quicksand have had way less of an impact on my life than I was led to believe as a child, because that's what was in all the TVs. That's the title of this episode. Gypsies, bandits, and quicksand. It's true, because those were made out to be big things. But, that was back. I mean, you hate to go, because I sound 90 when I say this. Times were simpler then. They weren't simpler. They really weren't. They just weren't 24/7 media, and they weren't a bunch of little, can I say this on the air? There wasn't a bunch of little assholes running around. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can say I'm going to get bleeped. Done. No, it's fine. It's done. But let's face it. Some people, and it's, my kid has been that kid before too, where I've had to put them in their place. Like, quit being a jerk. Yeah. Right? Some of y'all need some home training, and some of y'all need to smack your kids around a little bit and tell them, I don't literally mean smack them, maybe a spanking here or there, but it's some people need to understand. Yeah, I did too. I didn't get spankings because I was a good kid. My brother got them like nobody's business. I mean, I got he was always in trouble. But that was okay back then. See, but those made me not mess up. Right. That's why I was good. I had it happen one time, and I was like, never again. But this is why now, and let's talk about that for a minute, because there is no consequence right now for people being mean. You guys can go on, and I say you guys, I don't know who I'm talking to, but the people that are doing it, People can go online and they can bully and they can say mean things and they can call people out for not agreeing with them. There is zero consequences. If I would have said half the things I see online, I would have gotten beat up at the bus stop. That's what happened when I was in school. You say something mean, you call somebody out, you're rude, you're unkind, you get your butt handed to you when you get off the school bus. I'm sure that still happens in some places, but now it's just like we just feel like we have this permission. And I am here to revoke the permission. I'm telling you, do not have permission to just be little assholes to people because you look at things or feel differently than they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's,
100%.
I'm cool if you get offended. Like, I totally get, there are things that should make you mad in this country, and there are things that should make you mad with people. I am 1,000,000% okay with that.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, we've teased it a lot. We're going to do an episode on cancel culture. I hate to throw Whitney under that bus. I'm definitely not putting my child under that spotlight talking about cancel culture. So it's probably either going to be me or Shelby or me and Matt or somebody, because we don't care what people think of us. But that's the thing with the whole cancel culture, is people are getting offended. I get that people get offended. I don't ever want to offend anybody, but grow up, have a grown-up conversation, and figure out a middle ground. Don't just cancel stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there are things that need to be canceled for sure, but there are a lot of things that I'm like, just because your big girl pants got in a wadlets, I'm getting a little salty this morning.
It's great. Keep going.
But
I'm just going to listen.
I know. You're like, let me kick back. I'm drinking water too. But just because you don't agree with people, and that's what I'm talking about with being nice. You don't have to agree.
Yep.
You can want to have a healthy debate. I have healthy debates all the time with people I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, we love and respect each other.
Yep.
So we love and respect where the other person's coming from.
Yep.
And that's the part that we can't see that online. We can't always have that, advantage to know where somebody's coming from. So just give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I totally get, I was raised in the South. I was raised in a, upper middle class family. I get that the way I brought up was different than a lot of people. I understand that. It shaped me into who I am, right, wrong, or indifferent. It is. Am I right about everything? Nope. Do I like to think I am? Yep, like most of us. But I also do try to hear other people's stories.
Well, and that's a key point too, is we do a whole lot of talking and not a whole lot of listening. And I'm saying that to myself too, because I like to talk. So I talk, but we do a lot of talking and not a lot of listening or hearing multiple sides of the story or getting the full details. I mean, that's the other thing too you have to realize, is a lot of what you are hearing is partial facts.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Stuff is edited, especially if you're looking at it online. So,
well, it's totally edited. And we say that we're comparing our real life to somebody's highlight reel. People put online what they want to put online. So I have to believe that the people who are uber negative online aren't uber negative all the time. That's just what they choose to show. I only show positive stuff online because that's the image I want to be. My goal is to empower people, to uplift them. I have terrible things happen to me all the time. And I talk about them with my friends and my closest circle, but you got to get where people are coming from. But have a conversation and listen. Listening is the big thing, because it's a lost art. It really is. I feel like with media, we broadcast so much that we don't take time to listen. I got in a argument with, I keep saying argument. I was giving feedback to my youngest yesterday, and I would say something and she would immediately get defensive. And I kept going, stop. And she's like, but. I'm like, stop. And I just kept going, stop. And I'm like, you're not listening. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. And she just is like, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to need you to shut the heck up for a minute. And I do. I have to shake her, not shake her physically, but I'm like, stop it. And then she cries and whatever. But I'm like, you're not hearing me. You're so busy defending your position that I had not even finished my sentence.
Yes.
And she was already defending why I was wrong.
Yeah.
And then once I was able to get out my entire sentence, she realized, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, had you let me get out my sentence to start with. But that's what happens, is we're so busy thinking about what we're going to say next or formulating our responses to why that person's wrong that we don't hear what they're trying to say.
I think in most, and someone years ago told me this, but I think in most cases we can assume positive intent. Assume that.
I would hope so.
Again, now you know when someone's being downright mean and
Right.
how to handle that, but
Walk away.
yeah. Typically, again, if someone is in your inner circle or you know them in some form or fashion, what they're saying to you, they're saying because they feel like they need to, or they are providing that feedback. Like their intention is a good intention.
Yeah.
It still may hit you wrong or hurt or sting, whatever, but they're coming at it with positive intention. And if you just pause to hear that, the situation can go much more smoothly.
So why don't we all do that? When we think about if you can't help them, don't hurt them, let's start with hearing them first. So if you can't help them, don't hurt, or if you can't, help them, don't hurt them, but start with hearing. Mm-hmm. Listen to where somebody's coming. Now, if their blood is, if they're making your blood boil, you probably shouldn't be around them anyway.
Yeah.
So instead of engaging and getting all in your feels and just being mad the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. Now, if these are things that are affecting you, your family, your future, whatever, there are big things in this earth that we need to be a little bit vocal about. But you got to know, the best way to convince somebody, or I won't say convince, influence somebody, is to understand why they think the way they do. And this is with everything. Like I just read this great book called The Psychology of Money, and it was talking about saving and investing and why people react the way they do. And obviously with the finance background, I was like all into it. It was awesome. But it really made me start looking backwards, in my career, like, man, with the clients I've had and when I was working as an advisor, the decisions they would make where I just didn't get it. I'm like, why in the world would people think this way? And the book really helps you realize, here's this generation and how they grew up, and here's this type of, socioeconomic class and what they were taught. And it really does cause you to pause and like, man, everybody doesn't think about money the same way I do because they didn't live the same way I did. Neither was right or wrong. It's just you've got to understand where somebody's coming from so you can figure out, how to best approach that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it starts with listening. I think that's a good point about listening. Look at you on fire this morning, Miss Mendoza.
Do what I can.
All right. So, because I always like to leave them with some things they need to do and pay attention to.
Yes.
So I feel like we've got to start. I want to throw back out the reach outs because we need to get some kindness out there.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired, and we're going to work really hard. I'm, talking about, we're noodling a project. I'm not going to give too many details because I'm not really sure how this is going to shape up. But my friend and I are noodling a project.
You can tell me later.
I'll tell you later. I'll give you the inside scoop. But here's what we were talking about is there are so many people in this world who have phenomenal stories. Atypical, not your grew up, went to college, got a job, white picket fit, not those stories that have phenomenal stories of overcoming, of achievement, of kindness, of helping, that these people fly under the radar because they're not the big celebrities and they're not your typical people. And like, we want to showcase these people because there's like, I've met some people I've been fortunate enough to meet, and he's been fortunate enough to meet some people throughout our lives. You're like, man, their story is friggin' awesome. And people need to hear it because there's so many more people like us and like the people that we're talking about that just are so motivational that you look at them and like, oh my God, this is awesome. These are good humans doing really cool things that are just nice and helpful. And so we want to showcase that more. Nobody's going to watch it because there's no train wrecks or dead bodies or anything like that. But I don't know, maybe there will be. But we need more of that. It is time for us to quit feeding the negative narrative. It's time for us to quit just being ticked off about things. And it's time for us to take control back because we're letting, I'm going to get on my soapbox for 1 minute as we close. We are letting the media, and I realize we're part of the media because you have a media company and I do a lot of media.
We're the good media.
We're the good media. But we are letting the media and the masses control our narrative. And I'm tired of it because I don't want to live in a world where everybody's pissed off. I don't want to live in a world where everybody is fighting with everybody and finding fault with people. So I know, because anybody I've told about these ideas and these stories we're talking about, everybody's like, oh my God, this is so great. We need more of this. There are more of us out there that want to focus on the inspiration, on the positive. I get messages every single day from people that watch or see the post and are like, this is so great. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, you're always so motivational, which I love. That makes me like, that's why I do this.
Yeah.
Right. But we need more of that. We definitely need more of that. So if you guys are listening and hearing this, share it, figure it out. And I want you to start with the reach out. Start with 5. I don't care what your number is. Some of my clients do 10 or 15 a day. I do 5. Reach out to 5 people. I don't care if it's a text, an email, write a letter. I love handwritten letters. Send a carrier pigeon, whatever it is. Reach out to 5 people a day with something positive. Even if it's just, hey man, I was thinking about you. Hope things are great. Let's start spreading the feel good and putting the good juju out there, because there's more of us out there than there are these little negative, nasty folks that we are trying to distance ourselves from. That's my homework.
I like it.
What say you, Miss Mendoza?
I agree. Let's do it. Spread the positivity. Listen more. Find your tribe. Control the controllables.
You getting all the buzzwords. We have the cup. My label's out. Sabina got labels out here for those of you guys watching the live stream.
Book.
You're not for everyone. So that's true. I'm not for the people that are going to be all negative. But if you guys are going to jump on the positive bandwagon with us, we are for you all day long, and we will help you do that. Yes. I like it. So we're going to be tackling this. This topic is going to come up again. So we're going to talk. I would love to hear your stories too. So if you're doing some cool stuff and helping people be positive, drop us a note, send us a little message, do things like that. Let us know, because we're going to have some fun with it.
We need to come up with the hashtag for that. You know how we do our hashtags? We need a hashtag for this.
Can't help them, don't hurt them. I don't know. That's kind of a little lengthy.
Yeah.
We'll figure out some. We will drop some hashtags and you guys share it.
And if you have one, do good.
Renew the kindness is what we're doing.
Renew the kindness. Renew the good.
Renew the good. I think we need to do that. We need to renew some things. We need to renew the positive and get back to doing some cool stuff. So, all right, Miss Mendoza, thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be back with you as always next Tuesday. But you can download, if you miss it, download us on any of your favorite podcast platforms, and we will see you guys again next week. So thanks for being with us.